Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our latest series of webinars for Snow.Live, Snowflake. And today we will be covering finding educational content for your lesson activities. The session today will be led by Danielle Macklin. She will be going through Snow.Live and showing you how you can use OER and other educational content to build lesson activities. So I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome Danielle to the stage.
Hi, Jack. Hi, everyone. Thank you again for being here. So Jack was telling you that I'm going to show you some really great open educational resources. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen with you for OER Commons. Okay, so I think that's loaded up good. All right, so OER Commons, OER stands for Open Educational Resources. So these tend to be those resources that you have free access to, that you can often remix, share, send to students, or use in a variety of different media platforms. So I'm going to go through, and with OER Commons, I'm going to show you just the quick little explore page and then show you examples of some of the resources that they have. So you can search resources by keywords. You can see some that I've already searched for in the past. You also have the ability to search by subject. So a lot of these tend to be geared towards secondary or higher ed resources, but there are still some for lower grades. So, and you can search that for preschool, lower primary, upper primary, middle school, high school, and then into our higher level ed. And then you can also search by standards. Now I know we have people on who are from many of the European countries, so maybe these standards might not apply to you, but a lot of the content would still correspond. It would still be similar. So I'm actually going to take you through. I'm going to do a search. I taught social studies, so I'm going to do just a little history search. And we'll do middle school. And I'm going to keep that very basic. So this is just, I want to browse, I want to see what's available, and I want to be able to show you some of the different types of resources they have. So OER resources can be anything from full textbooks to lesson plans, simulations, interactive activities, worksheets, so a variety of things. As you can see, just for middle school history, we have over 1,000 results popping up. So I did just the subject area and just education level. If I wanted to include more, so maybe I wanted to include middle school and high school, I could add the plus, and that's going to extend my search even more. So now I have more resources. I'll take that out for now. I can also search material type. So we can see these are the different types of resources available. So everything from activities and labs, with history might not have a lot of labs, assessments, case studies, data, diagrams, illustrations. OER also has full courses. I'll show where that is in a moment. Games, homework, interactives, notes, lesson plans, primary sources, reading, simulation. You can see there's quite a bit of different types. For now, I'm just going to leave again this open. We can also search and filter by the condition of use. So at NUITEQ, when we are creating our content, if we're using anything from OER Commons, we usually go with the no strings attached. So typically that'll involve being able to use it under Creative Commons, so then we can share it as a commercial business. As teachers, you definitely have a lot more flexibility as far as your copyright following. Jack could probably speak a little bit better to that than I can, since I'm usually always asking him, is this okay? Is this okay? But these are just kind of your examples of the type of copyright that it would fall under. So remix and share means you can edit pieces of it, share it back. Share only is you have to use it exactly how it is. And then read the fine print. So there might be specific things like maybe you can share it, but you also need to cite the original author. And then we can also search content source, primary user. So who is this designed for? Is it your students, your teachers, your parents, etc.? What type of format do you want this to be? So an audio recording, downloadable, ebooks, graphics. So these are all just filters that you can go through. And you can even filter too by language. And then providers. So this would be if there was a specific brand that you wanted to search through, you could add that in. I'm going to snag one of these. Let's see, let's do ancient Egypt. So in my preview, it's just showing me the subject. It's showing me the grade levels, the type of material that it is. This is a diagram/illustration with reading. Who is the provider? What set it's part of, so if this is a series or a particular section of a series, and then what is my Creative Commons or my licensing agreement. So there's that information. Also, there's comments from users, and they rate things. So this has 4 stars, only 1 rating. But from here, I can then share it on certain social medias. I could also share this resource into my Google Classroom. But for now, I'm just going to view it. And I think this might open in a new window. Oh, nope, it opened at the same. Good. So we can see this particular resource. I can go through. This is just an online textbook, pictures, text, charts, and I can scroll through and go through all those pieces. And then from here, again, I can share it to Google Classroom or on different social medias. I can get the web link. So if I wanted to embed this maybe into a Google Doc and then share that with my students, I can do that. And then I can add my own feedback and evaluate, so rate this particular material. I also from here can save, and I'm not logged in, so I could save this to my OER dashboard. So then I would have access to this and I wouldn't need to go back and continue to search for it. So that's a quick how to search basic information. I could do the same thing searching by keywords. So as I showed before, any of those keywords, I could search for something, filter my different levels just like you would with any other search engine. The other thing that OER has, or OER Commons has, so I'm searching just resources. I also have the ability to search their collections. So this would be all of their curated materials related to a particular content standard or subject. So you can see we have Next Gen Science, Common Core Math, Common Core ELA, PhET Interactives. So this is everything curated under that same topic. And that's all under the Discover tab. The other option is through what's called hubs. So I'm going to explore a hub. Hubs are kind of like the curated content as well, but usually a little bit more specific. So it's more of a resource center. Typically everyone involved in that resource center is from the same region or some similar academic standings. So we can see there's some examples. So if I went to, let's say I wanted to find stuff that was related to Common Core. This is going to walk me through where I can find all of the different pieces of the Common Core Hub. So it'll give me the background on it, what's within the collection, the different groups related to it. So it's almost like a separate database of everything Common Core related. Similar to that are groups. The difference being you also can create your own groups. So I'm going to first show you some groups, and then I'll show you the creating part. So the group types, we have just general groups. We have groups for instructors, your teachers, students, administrators. You can filter groups by subject, by grade level. So this would be more of a collaborative workspace. So you can see there's some examples of groups. It goes on and on and on. Some of the groups are open. You can just simply click and then join, and then others, there's a filtering process. So I don't teach in Hawaii. I would probably have to wait to be vetted before I would be invited into a Hawaii group. But I also could create my own group. So if I were working with my fellow teachers, oh, I already created a group. I'll show you my group. If I were working with my fellow team of teachers, there we go. And I wanted to have a collaborative space where we could put all of our resources together, all of the stuff that we're finding from OER Commons, this would be a place that I could do that. So I could add in those textbooks that I found, or those worksheets, or the interactive activities, so that it was all in one space. This would be great if you work with a team on the same grade level, or a team within the same content, being able to have a space for all of your info. And then also having, it's kind of that online platform. You can have discussions, you can add in group members, so I'm the only one. And then you can obviously kind of give more information about this particular group. This is just my demo test group, so I didn't include a whole lot. So this is OER. With OER Commons, you also can add in your own resources. So I could create, theoretically, my own textbook, and I could add it into this and then have that available for other educators to use as well. So before I go to the next OER, I keep saying OER resource, but before I go to the next site that also has open educational resources, are there any questions about this particular one? I don't want to move forward.
There is, and that was, would you be able to search for a specific standard?
Yes. So through standard, I could search, I'll do just ELA. And this is just showing the standards that are currently in their database. So it is a little limited as far as states, but since many places do have their version of Common Core for ELA and math, as well as Next Gen, that would be one place you could search for it. So if I was just doing Common Core ELA, now again, I'm seeing over 1,000 results, all related to just Common Core ELA. I can filter that by grade level. Let's see if there's anything for grade 5. And then again, I can go through and I can filter a little bit more. Subject area, a material type. Maybe I'm looking for
What is learning domain?
Oh, I missed that one. So that would be the subset of the Common Core. So the category, is this part of language, reading informational texts, reading for literature, foundational skills, speaking and listening, or writing. So it's the other way that Common Core would be divided up a little bit more. And then there we go for each individual particular standard related to Common Core. So I can then grab, let's see if there's 4 activities for Common Core, 5th grade writing, writing standard 5.1b. So then we can see different examples of just some of the activities. And some of these take you to other locations. So like this is taking us to Engage New York. So that would be a learning module available from there. This one, I think that one's Engage New York as well. This one is taking to Wyoming PBS. So that's who created this particular content. So, and again, all of the same filters as far as conditions of use and the type of material itself. That's where it would be available. So I'm going to pick one I haven't looked at before. So we'll do colony collapse disorder. I think that's about bees. So again, I can see a little overview. So this has a video segment. It's Common Core related to art, humanities, and biology. So you get that cross-curricular, my grade levels, the provider, and then the permissions, any permissions I would need. And then by viewing resource, it'll take me to where this particular information has been set. So OER Commons curates a lot of open-ended open educational resources. And then there we go, I'd have this resource and all of my materials available for it.
So Danielle at the beginning did speak a little bit about copyright, so I will elaborate on that a little bit. OER Commons is Creative Commons license. It is not okay for commercial use, so we do not use this to develop our materials. We're just showing you as teachers what you can use because you do have the ability to use them. And there is a plethora of information here. So you can go through and search any standard that you're looking for in various languages even. So if you needed native language support for some of your work that you're doing, you can find quite a bit of that here as well. So you can search for Spanish language. I've worked in a school with a big Ethiopian population, Amharic, and with Vietnamese. So those, you can just go in and search in language while you're searching for some specific content that would be native language support. So it's good for that. And there's everything that you could imagine in there as far as video, audio, written materials, even lesson plans and how to do step-by-step on many things. So it's a great resource for teachers. I'm going to remind those that have recently joined that we do have a couple of active polls. If you could go in and answer the polls, that would be helpful. Thank you. Sorry, Danielle.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, Jack. So this is one particular resource. I'm going to next take you to another. Let me go back and share my screen again. Called OpenStax, and OpenStax is textbook specific. So there we go. And this tends to be geared again more towards secondary students, definitely very strong in math and science, but all of these icons are full textbooks. So we can see all of the different features for that. And this is openstax.org. So we can see those are the textbooks available. And then within those textbooks, I'm going to select elementary algebra. So from here, I have a little bit of the details about the book itself, contributing editors, licensing, all of that fun stuff. I have my instructor resources. Now with this, I'm on just an open, I think, open version of this. I don't have an educator email, so I can't log in with a school account. So there are things that I'm not able to unlock. But if there's extra material with the textbook, like this one has PowerPoint slides, if I had my school email, I would be able to unlock that. But I can see the other resources that are available for all of this particular textbook. So answer guide, math manipulatives, all that fun stuff. And then student resources. So the getting started guide, answer guide. So resources I wanted available for my students. And then the book itself. So with OpenStax, you have the ability to view this online. So I just have a Chrome browser open. If I select view online, I'm going to have this particular textbook open just in my browser. I could also download the book as a PDF. I could download it as an app or in an app. I could order it as a print copy if I wanted a hard copy of that textbook, or download for Kindle. And then I'm not sure what this one is. I've never used that before, but I'm imagining just another reading app. In this case, I'm going to do view online, and I have my table of contents for my book, the different chapters in my book, all the stuff you would see in just a regular textbook. I'm going to select the first chapter. Gives me my learning objectives, what I need to know before I can begin, and then I have the actual text itself. So I could assign this to my students to complete. It has examples that they could work along with as they're going. So problems they could solve as they go.
Danielle?
Yes.
Can you scroll down a little so that we can see the license and see what type of license it is so people are
Sure.
familiar with that? I'm sorry.
All right. Let me see. This is under more information. So this is Creative Commons Attributions License.
Okay.
So this one is licensed Creative Commons Attribution License by 4.0.
Is it BY 4.0 or?
CC BY 4.0.
Okay, so just so that people are aware a little bit, so you can be familiar with what you're using. So CC BY 4.0 would mean that any commercial entity could also use it. So anyone could reuse this information and do something with it as long as they give attribution to it. But for teachers, pretty much with anything that's CC BY, you are free to use. So here we go. So you can copy, redistribute in any manner, remix, transform, and build upon the material even commercially. There is an amazing amount of information that's out there for teachers to use, so that when you're in situations such as we are today, where you may not have textbooks with every student, or you may not have everything you have at home with you. I know my sister is a teacher, and she was able to go to her room yesterday, and she felt like she had hit a jackpot because she was able to go get stuff. But if you're stuck at home, some of the stuff that Danielle is showing you today, you can pull up as opposed to having to worry about if you don't have something with you at home. Go ahead, Danielle, I'm sorry.
Nope, that's fine. Thank you for sharing that. Let's go ahead and close out of this one again. I think that stops sharing my screen. Let me open it back up. So again, with OpenStax, and I will share with everyone a PDF of some of these resources, just so you have it on hand and can get a little overview of what they are. So this is our OpenStax. So this is all textbooks. Definitely a lot with math and science, not as much with your social studies, ELA content, but really good quality for the other subjects. Obviously, we have a little bit others, music theory, flowering lights. So we do have other subjects, but it's just not quite as strong as if you were to do math and science. All right. And then the last thing I'm going to share with you is another open source. Let me see, which one is it? Oh, there we go. So this is ck12.org. And I've already set up my own account with this. It does allow you to create your own classes and add in your own materials, but I'm just going to share with you the Explore page. So again, this is all kind of open educational resources, so you do have access to it without needing to pay for it, which is great. So here's some of their Explore page. They have what they call flexbooks. So flexbooks are the online textbooks. The thing that's really unique with CK12 is you have the ability to actually customize the textbook. So you can edit the textbook itself. I'll show, I think I have one that I've maybe played with and created. When I say edit the textbook, that means you have the ability to change some of the actual wording in the text. I'm just going to grab, not science, I've already shown social studies. We'll do this math one. So I can select this particular textbook. I'm going to add that to my library. So when I say you can create your own account, you can add it to your library so you have everything added in one place. But the customized part, so it's going to auto saves it. It gives me all this background information. So I can go through and I can edit the actual text within it. I can change what I want the book to look like. I can add in additional materials. I can select with my chapter. Okay, come on. So when I say edit, you're able to edit every piece of this book. So you really get to customize your own textbook. So this is the textbook itself. There's all the information. It's showing this is videos or audio or charts or graphs, all those other features. I have the ability as a teacher, I can add in all of that stuff too. So I can change any of the text. I have the ability to, oh, that one's already bold. There we go. I have the ability to edit parts out. So maybe I want to delete that paragraph. I can change the pictures. So I could replace this with a different image. I could also add in outside media. So this would be your videos, or if there's a movable graphic, I can add in that. If I were teaching math, I have my math editor, special characters. So really you get to build your own textbook with a textbook that's already created. So it's allowing you to have that customization within that. We also have in that our resources. So if I wanted to upload a Google Doc to go with it, or a web quest I wanted my students to complete, I can upload that file there. I can save everything, and then I could take this particular book and I could assign it to students. So I could share this book or this chapter in the book with my students so that they could complete the reading online. And from a student perspective, they have the ability to highlight and to add notes, and then it curates all of that information into a separate doc for them to have. So that's called a Flexbook.
Danielle?
Yes.
Question is, how would you incorporate these activities into Snowflake?
That's a really great question. So with all of these activities, with them being able to have the web links, so if I had this particular book, or really any of the other books, the resources that I've used, I'm going to go back to my snow.live. I could use all of those resources in building my lesson activity. So I can base my lesson activity as the actual assessment of the skills I want my students to demonstrate. And I'll just go and build from scratch. So let's say that I assigned one of the reading passages from OER Commons, and I want my students to read it, and then I want to have them take a short quiz on what they've read. So I can create my lesson itself, and then I can provide for my students so that it is all in one spot. I could provide that web link to the resource I wanted my students to use while completing the lesson activity. I also, since many of these can be downloaded as a PDF, go back to my lesson activities, I can add in a list a PDF. So I could, as you can see here, there's an example, I could essentially, and I'll create a new list just to show you. So this is May 13th. List. I'm going to check my calendar. So from my list, I could add into that a PDF. So all of these resources, nearly all of them are available to download as a PDF. So I have the option, I could do the web link embedded into the lesson activity itself, or I could download the resource as a PDF and then add that PDF to a list and then add lesson activities to that list. So we have my list title. There's my PDF. So this could be, I just grabbed a PDF that I have. This could be the entire reading passage I wanted my students to do prior. Let me go back to my lesson activities. And then I could add my lesson activity to that particular list. So if I select add to list, it's going to pull up all of my different lists. Here's the one from today that now has been added to my list. And I can see there we have my PDF for the reading, and then the lesson activity that my students could complete following that. And then with all of our list features, you can then send that to students, and students would be able to complete that lesson activity. So they would receive all of the material. So I could have just the one lesson, or I could have multiple lessons along the way and then send that to my students. So I hope that answered the question.
Yes, thank you very much.
Great. All right. So I'll go back, I'll finish sharing just a little bit more from ck12.org, and then I'll open up for any other questions that someone might have. So there I was building my textbook, the flex books, so the customized textbooks. This particular site also has simulations. So if you've ever used PhET, it's very similar to that. So students can manipulate different science things to perform a simulation. They also have a feature called Plix, so similar to that as well, where it's more animated learning. So just another feature that they have. Jack and I played with this, trying to do science with think like protons and neutrons, and definitely a little bit beyond my wheelhouse, but it's just another feature of animations. So that's just another feature that is available through all of these open educational resources. So at this time, I'd like to open up for any questions, anything related to OER Commons or anything related to Snow.live, questions that you might have maybe with sending assignments to students or building your lesson activities or finding from the community, anything at all.
There's a question asking is it possible to put the simulations into Snow.live?
I'd have to check. I know with PhET, so PhET's another resource. If you go to the web links for that, you can embed those links. Let me see with this one, with Plix. I'm going to open that back up. Let me share with you my screen. So there's some examples of the simulations. Again, math, science related. So we'll do this bow and arrow. So I can select that. So I could add to my activity, I can probably add the web link. So he's not embed. trying to find the right one. There we go. So I could copy, I did the little paper airplane. I could copy this link, and then I would have this link as the web link within my lesson activity. So I could have students, as part of the instructions, go to this particular website, complete this simulation, and then now answer these questions based off of what you've done. Or the reverse of go to the website, do this simulation, but follow these metrics as you're making this girl shoot her bow and arrow. So that would be one way to include that into the lesson activity itself. And that would all be under the web link resource in your lesson information. So
would you also be able to add it to a document with a list of simulations in a document the students were able to pull up?
Oh, absolutely. So I could have all of the web links as a PDF and then send that to my students with the list of the lesson activities alongside it. Or I could create a Google Doc or really anything that would have a separate web link, and then share that as part of the resource with my students as well. So then they could open that doc, click the links, and have access to the simulations.
Are there any other questions for Danielle about open education resources or about anything else with Snow.Live at this point? We'll wait a couple seconds while I give people a chance to answer them. I do want to thank everyone for answering poll questions for me. I appreciate it. We use that information to help us plan. So it's very helpful. And again, I would like to say, as you're in your classrooms, all of the open education resources are open to you. That's why they're open education resources. So you can feel free to use them. We are limited a little bit more commercially than you are as a teacher. So we don't use all of them for what we are creating, but they're all open to you. No other questions have come in. So Danielle, I would like to thank you for, again, putting together a wonderful webinar for us.
My pleasure.
100% of people said the information you shared was helpful, so that's nice.
Good.
Anything, guys, that we can do for you, please let us know. Again, jr@nuitec.com. Send me any ideas that you have of things you'd like us to cover, and we'll try to plan according to that. No other questions come in before we sign off, then we want to wish you all a wonderful week. Again, thanks for joining, and let us know throughout the week if there's anything we can do to help you. Have a good afternoon.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Danielle.
Thank
Bye.
you.